Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and for a while now I've been wanting to talk about Bristleback, and this is the perfect game. He has a solid laning stage, 2 deaths early on, but then swings the game around, right? Goes from 2 early deaths within the first 10 minutes to 12, 2, and 12. Carries a rank 6 who had like the worst game imaginable. I mean, look at this faceless void. 0 game, lowest net worth. And yeah, he just kept his team in the match. Literally carried the fights, carried the map control, carried the wave clear, did it all. And yeah, this hero's impressive now, guys. It's impressive for a couple of reasons, mainly being the items. The first one being mana boots just are way better now for Bristleback. The Ring of Bassi buildup makes the hero way better in the lane as you can actually spam quills, well, more than you could in the past. From there, it's just Vanguard into Ags, at least this build is. Then he goes into Bloodstone, and there's 2 angles you can go. You can disassemble this Vanguard into either an Eternal Shroud or a Bloodstone, depending on what you need for the game, right? Depending on what they're killing you with. And so you have a lot of flexibility there. Of course, you also buy your shard, which has been broken for a while. But yeah, you get this AoE bonus from Bloodstone, of course the natural spell Lifesteal, and then eventually you go for Eternal Shroud, right? This item is obviously incredible on Bristleback as well. And another item that they recently buffed, Kaya Sanj. So everything in terms of items is going good, is solid for Bristle right now. And yeah, let's talk about it. And before we get into this video, I do just want to say, don't forget to check out the gameleap website. The reason why is I'm making videos there almost daily. And I just made a video where I did a full live game analysis. Like, I was just watching the game, giving every single thought I had on how you can improve, how you can be better in a game between Nouns versus Beast Coast, right? 2 of the top teams right now, or well, not in Europe, but you get the point. I'm just making a lot of content over there on various heroes, various games, draft analysis, match analysis, hero guides, hero builds, so on and so on. And so yeah, check it out down below. Click the link down below now, and I'll see you guys there. Okay, so I really liked his laning stage. I think it's a perfect display of how to like maximize your quills and just really pop off on quills. So immediately quills the Luna. And a big trend here, a big theme here is going to be using a lot of quills. You'll see hit nuke, secure that creep, also hit the Luna. And at this point, for a bit of reference, he has 3 quills on Luna and 2 on the Elder Titan. And he has no problem just getting aggressive and looking for these quills. Try to get another one there, miss the range creep, whatever, right? But yeah, just really getting aggressive. I don't know why he quilled that one. I think it didn't hit the Luna, but quill. He has no problem just spending an extremely high amount of quills early on. And I think this is really important for this lane because he's against a melee 5. I think against range 5s, you can be a bit more patient. For instance, if Gyro could actually zone out the enemy support, I think he could just pull a lot of creep aggro, play a bit more chill, just, yeah, pull the lane back, chill, CS. In a lane like this, you're gonna get run at, and so if you don't constantly quill the enemy and keep a stack on them, they're gonna be able to run at you and basically kick you out of lane. But yeah, here he was able to get some major quills, getting not only the Luna low, but also the Elder Titan low, while his Gyrocopter sits at a very comfortable amount of health. And so yeah, I thought that was great. His HP is low, but this is very normal for Bristleback early on. This hero is not the best, especially against like Elder Titan or just any high pressure lane early on. Bristle can really struggle, but the way he reacted was very good. So from there, one thing I'd like to say is I really don't like this circlet. I think there's no point in buying circlet in most games in Dota, unless like you're turning it into something, or at least you're universal. For a strength hero, I think casual circlet is terrible. I don't know what he's planning on buying, maybe Bracer, but he didn't buy it. So I would stay away from this, just have an extra branch. It's a third of the cost for half of the usefulness, right? So from there, you're gonna rush up a Bassi, right? In this lane, he bought an early stick, right? He started with stick, just depends on the lane. You can actually buy a ton of stats on this hero, like Gauntlet, stick, branch, and just be tanky, right? Be able to spam quills. He didn't do that. Reason why is it's too good of a stick lane, right? On top of that, he clearly put a priority on spamming mana, so he had 2 mangoes to start. Maybe in these harder lanes, it's very important to have these mangoes, right? So you can actually put pressure on the enemy. And then from there, after popping a mango, and now that he has Bassi and a stick, he's pretty chilling in terms of mana, right? He has at least enough to be able to quill a few times on this Luna, so that she can't easily pressure him. He's primarily pulling aggro at this point, and the reason why you want to do this, if given the opportunity, is you want to evade the enemy, like, honestly, almost as much as you can, unless they mess up, right? If they mess up or they get aggressive on you, feel free, right? You can turn, right? You can start proccing these quills. If they hit you in the back and they proc like that as well, like Luna just did there, you can start to get aggressive because you're going to build up those stacks. But if you just start casually quilling people, you're just really giving them stick charges and you're not going to build it up fast enough. But when the Luna overcommits, right, when she procs a back quill and extends through a creep wave, he's willing to turn and get some really, really good damage. But other than that, honestly, it's totally fine to play passive, and you can be happy with drawing most lanes and just having perfect CS. So in terms of farming, we're going to see the main things you have to do if you want to snowball as Bristleback. And it's pretty simple. When you farm up your Vanguard, most heroes can't touch you, right? So you can just be very aggressive in the lane. You're going to hit level 6 when you get Vanguard in most games, if you're CSing well. And you should try to combine those things. If you're hitting level 6 way before you have Vanguard, you're last hitting really, really, really poorly. And that's something you got to pay attention to, because if you can combine these timings, you can pressure the majority of the cast, or at least ignore them and farm around them, right? As we see him put some pressure on Luna, but she's way ahead at this point. Unfortunately, he did die twice now, so you couldn't actually pressure her. But now that he picks up this Vanguard, he can farm the stack of the large camp, and then he's going to be able to push out the wave. After that, he can cut the next wave, and cutting the next wave is... Oh, you missed it. But cutting the wave, or dragging the wave, is super important. It's super important because it then allows you to farm a stack. The faster you kill the wave, the quicker you can go and farm these stacks. Now, unfortunately, his stack got yoinked by the Primal Beast. But it's okay. Once this gets to 3 or 4, you can take it. I would generally wait till it gets to about 3 or 4, and then don't just straight up tank it. Like, honestly, it's pretty good to just kite it, let it get a bunch of stacks by just clicking W, right? Apply goo to the highest HPH and creeps, and then eventually, once you get a bunch of stacks, you can start to actually tank it a little bit, and then you can actually proc from the back and finish it off. And hopefully after you're done taking the stack like he is, the wave is going to push back into you, right? It should eventually shove. Now in this case, the Bat Rider actually farmed it, but basically the main point is hopefully someone farms it, right? And when someone farms it, you're going to be able to come, take the wave, and then also be able to take the next wave. And this is a great thing about like cutting a wave, then going to farm Ancients, then coming back after they shove it into you, is you then get to farm 2 waves in a row, which is really efficient. It feels great whenever this happens. That's exactly what happens to him here. He's going to think about cutting the next wave, but he decides after pushing out that wave, I can actually run back and stack. So you can see how efficient he is here, right? Takes Ancient stack, farms wave that gets pushed in, farms next wave, gets stack off, and can farm the stack now. Right? And all of a sudden he went from having a pretty bad game to, after the stack, going to be level 10, right? In line. I mean, the enemy offlaner, you can see in terms of net worth, they're even, but the power of Ancients is that even though they're even on net worth, is the level, the XP discrepancy is massive. This is a level, not even 9 Mars, to a 10.5 Bristleback. That is how powerful Ancients are in terms of XP. The XP Ancients give is broken, and it allows heroes like Bristle to get a lot of points in E. Now, the old build used to be max Q, or 3 points Q, and then stats, and you would leave E at level 1. The reason why is E actually, like, the more points you get in it, the less you quill when you get gone on. So basically how quill works is if you have high armor and high magic resist, you'll quill slower, right? If you take a lot of damage, if you get like bursted essentially, because you don't have resistances, you'll proc like crazy. Like you'll just proc, right? And so these resistances, like actually Vanguard and your E, make you proc slower when you get gone on. And so technically, if you want to get off the most quills possible, you should just buy a ton of health and spell lifesteal. And that is sort of how the builds go nowadays, right? It's Ags and a Bloodstone. There's no resistances within that. Maybe he buys a cloak so he doesn't get bursted. But yeah, that's the idea. However, I think a lot of people overvalue this. They're like, oh, you know, I gotta quill. And then they don't go Vanguard and they don't go the E in a game where the enemy team really can kill them and they just die. And like, no, that's not useful. Like, you want to be able to click your W, click your Q, hit someone. Your ulti literally makes you hit for 250, 14 minutes into the game, right? And so in a team fight like this, he's level 12 now, just off good efficiency, took the 14-minute wisdom rune, stacked off the 14-minute wisdom rune, and if the enemy team isn't able to kite him, which in pubs, people won't kite you, you're just gonna kill them all. So in terms of his next items, he picks up his shard, which is absolutely crucial. It's like one of the most broken shards in the game. It was broken to the max. Like this shard, when it was at full power, was some of the most broken stuff in Dota. It was a 10-second cooldown, now it's 13, and the range you could cast it at was like 1 billion. Now it's not nearly as good, but it's still OP. It's still imperative for this build, and so yeah, make sure you pick it up. Then I actually kind of disagree with the angle he goes. He picks up a casual cloak. I can see why. He's against a Luna carry. You're obviously worried about Eclipse, and the rest of the enemy heroes have obviously a ton of magic damage. And so I get it, right? He just wants to frontline. Totally reasonable. However, I think picking up the casual Voodoo Mask at this point, which actually did get buffed, is kind of better, right? Because you have your Ags, so you're going to be able to stack up a ton of quills. You have your Shard, so you're going to stack up another quill with that, and Goo. It just feels very efficient, right? And now eventually when you hit this later timing, right? When you hit this timing where you have Bloodstone Ags plus Shard, he also gets lucky. He got the Vampire Fangs, which is, I mean, it's just so powerful. Lifesteal and Spell Lifesteal on a hero that not only right clicks, but obviously loves Spell Lifesteal is just super, super OP. And so he gets gone on here, right? Nice arena from the Mars, onto 2. Looks good from the enemy team, and he gets really low. He kind of turned around here, which was sus. I actually thought he was about to kill himself, but clicks the Bloodstone while clicking the Axe, which is a great way to keep yourself alive. Clicks his W as well, right? Obviously threw out the Shard too, and then boom. The Puck exploded. Where did Puck even go? Wait, let's watch it from Puck's perspective. Did he just go in and then get quilled? Like... What in the world? The Puck exploded. That's crazy. I didn't even see that originally. That's crazy. And then, yeah, I mean, it was an easy chrono from there. They took out the Luna and they won the fight. And this is the start of him carrying for his team, right? Kind of tanks the go, tanks the arena, tanks the Eclipse, able to live it all. Kills off the Puck accidentally, which is, you know, very classic Bristleback. And they win the fight. And now he's very close to this Eternal Shroud. He's getting to the point where they're just not going to be able to kill him. They essentially cannot go on him. And if they try, they might get close, but there's a really high chance he gets off a ton of Spell Lifesteal and they all die. They all get bursted. And we'll see that shortly. All right, and the perfect example, I mean, to be fair, this one is really close. But he's got the Eternal Shroud, so he doesn't get bursted by the magic damage here. And you'll see, I mean, when you get these quills going, he gets broken as well. So like, things look kind of sus. He gets hit by Silver Edge. But the nice thing here is with the, with the Shard and with the Bloodstone, you don't necessarily need it. You can kind of get that Spell Lifesteal going. He got Glimmered to and Decrepit. So shout out to Pugna for completely saving him here. And then with the Bloodstone, oh, he's on 30 health. And then just folkules essentially off a bit of damage. Oh my, what the? And then of course, oh, gets the Ags off onto Luna. Finishes her off. The Luna's rank 30, by the way. Like, these are all very legit players. This is like some super high MMR game. I mean, Durachio's the Puck. And yeah, I mean, they win the fight. And before we end the video and he's done farming, I do want to say that he farms a lot. I mean, take a look at the CS. He's close to a Luna. And if you want to play Bristleback optimally, guys, in between the fights, just spam your Ags, spam your Shard, spam your quills, keep your movement speed at max, right? Keep the stacks at max so you're moving your max movement speed. Right, even here during the fight, like when he's running to Roche, he should just keep quilling and quilling and quilling. Once you get to this late game stage, you won't really run out of mana from doing so. And so you can just quill, right, like crazy. And then, yeah, the hero becomes pretty broken. He actually takes Spell Lifesteal at level 25, which, you know, I get it. It's the whole meme of this build. I understand. But at the same time, I do think that even with these items, you should consider Warpath damage per stack. When you get some stacks built up on people, you will hit for like legit 700. Like when he's hitting the Mars here, he'll hit for 700. And it causes you to be a threat, not only with your quills and getting gone on, but also just being an upfront threat. And it almost forces people to go on you when you take the left talent. So I prefer it over the Spell Lifesteal. I think it's just a little bit too good. Yeah, in terms of items, he picked up a BKB just because of the Silver Edge break. He was clearly pretty concerned about that from last fight. He lived on 30 health, so I could kind of see why he would be. And then you pick up Kaya Sanj, which amps all the healing, amps the Spell Lifesteal, gives you Spell Amp, right? It's just super, super good, right? Obviously makes a ton of sense on Bristleback. But all right, they're going to go high ground here. They're completely unable to stop him at this point. 7k net worth lead. Faceless Void has completely recovered. Well, kind of. Still behind Luna, but it is what it is. And yeah, it just gets in the way. I mean, they really can't do much to him at this point. Just zoning out the enemy carry with the Ags, bullying her, forcing her into the fountain. And one of the coolest things about Bristle is when you don't get broken, you can stand in the fountain and literally, if there are any heroes, you will kill them. If there's two, it's even better because you'll Spell Lifesteal more. Like, he kind of panicked here. I think he's like, oh shit, I'm not killing her. But he was fine, like, because, you know, the more you do it, the more you heal. To be fair, the more you get hit by the fountain, the more damage you take, but... Oh, and I think he killed the puck. It's so goofy. That's the most fun part of the game if you can get to that point. But alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.